Hey everybody, it's Robin and welcome to the Robin's Nest. Today on my channel, I'm bringing you guys this super awesome Xbox cake with a molded Rice Krispie game controller topper. And this cake couldn't come at a better time because I know you all must be as excited as my family is for the upcoming release of the new Xbox game console. It is highly anticipated in my home, so this cake should be a lot of fun. Now let's get into it. So for today's cake, I baked up 3 8-inch vanilla cake layers, and we're just going to start out by trimming these down and leveling them out using my cake leveler, which I've already preset to my desired height. So I'm just going to trim these down, and we're going to set our cake scraps to the side. And you can save them for cake pops if you like, or you can toss it away. So once you finish leveling those, we're going to go ahead and fill our layers, do our crumb coat, and get our cake off to the fridge to chill. So I'm just going to start by using my small offset spatula and applying a small amount of buttercream to my cake board, and I'm using a 10-inch cake board today for this cake. I'm just going to spread that out very thinly. We're going to apply our first cake layer. Press that down and then we can fill our layers. Alright, so that's it for our crumb coat. Now this part doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't have to. We're going to do another coat later on, and we're going to make that one look really nice. So we're going to set this off in the fridge to chill now, and when we come back, we're going to start working on our Rice Krispie game controller. Alright, so for this next part, you guys are probably going to have to bear with me because I've only ever sculpted Rice Krispie treats one other time before, and it was a long time ago. Mind you, it turned out great and it looked fantastic, but anything can happen in the baking game. So fingers crossed it turns out and it looks wonderful. So the first thing we're going to do is find yourself a template, and I've just printed this one off from online, and I've cut that out, and we're going to use that to cut out the shape of our controller. So we're going to start here by attaching some of our Rice Krispie treats together. And we're going to see if this fits. We need it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use this last one, and I'm going to cut this in half. And we're going to line it up on the side. And now we're going to squish this all together, making it one large Rice Krispie treat. Alright, so now we have one large uniform Rice Krispie treat, and I've shaped it a little bit like the controller. So next we're going to take our template and we're going to lay it on top to make sure it fits. And that looks pretty good. So now we're going to take a knife and cut all around the outside to get a more accurate shape. There, that looks pretty good. Now we're just going to take our fingers and we're going to round off our edges a little bit so they're not so sharp. And we're going to push in any little parts that stick out. And once we're finished with that and we're satisfied with how it looks, we're going to give it a very, very light coat of vanilla buttercream. And you can toss these scraps away, but I think there's no sense in wasting a good Rice Krispie treat. Alright, so to apply our crumb coat to our Rice Krispie treat, we're just going to be using a small offset spatula with the aid of a small flexible plastic smoother. And we're just going to be filling in all these little nooks and crannies to provide a nice smooth finish, because we're going to cover this up with fondant and we want a nice smooth finish on our fondant as well. So we're just going to start with a little bit of buttercream. And I'm going to actually start on the back side because we're going to want to do all the way around, and I find it easier this way. And then once you finish the back side, you're going to flip it over and lay it on a piece of parchment paper so it doesn't stick to it. And there we go. I think our game controller looks great so far. What do you guys think? You can leave me a thumbs up and let me know what you think about it so far down below. So I know for this part a lot of people like to cover the Rice Krispie treats with ganache because it gives a really nice finish underneath the fondant. But the last time I sculpted, I used buttercream as well, and I did have fairly good results. So I'm hoping that this is going to turn out really well. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm going to pop this in the fridge to chill and let it firm up a little bit before we get it covered in fondant. And while we're waiting, we're going to start working on some fondant cutouts. So for our cutouts, there's a couple of things I want to make, and this first one I think is so cute. So we're going to be making a label for the front of our cake that says level 13. And I think this is really smart because you can take the level number and you can correspond it to the age of the birthday boy or girl. I think it's so clever, I just love it. And once we're finished with that one, we're going to switch over to our other stencil and we're going to cut out some happy birthday wishes. And this is going to go on our cake board. So we're just going to start with a small piece of red fondant, which I've already added some Tylo powder to help it dry a little bit faster. And we're going to roll this out nice and thin, and we're going to use this to cut out all of our letters and numbers. Then I'm going to switch over to my black fondant. I'm going to cut out a nice rectangle shape, and we're going to use that to back our level 13 label. So that's it for those two cutouts, and I think they turned out great. I'm really happy with them. So we're going to set them off to the side to dry now, and I'm going to go grab our game controller and we're going to get it covered in some fondant. So our game controller's all firmed up, and that means it's ready to use. So we're going to get it covered with some fondant. So I'm going to roll out a piece of black fondant, and we're going to keep it fairly thick. So when we cover our controller, we're going to end up with a nice smooth finish. So the first thing I'm going to do is roll this out, and we're going to cover up the bottom first. Then we're going to trim that out, flip it over, and cover the top. Then once I have that all smoothed out and looking the way I want it to, I'm going to come back in with my skill knife, and we're going to trim all around the outside once again, and that should seal in the seams. Alright, so we got our Rice Krispie treat all covered up, and I think that looks great so far, but it doesn't look like a game controller just yet. So we're going to break out our stencil that we printed off earlier, and we're going to use this to cut out all the little buttons for our controller and see if we can make this look like the real deal. And voila, here it is, guys. It's all done, and I think it looks great. Now, my finish is a little lumpier than I would have liked it, but that's because of the buttercream. So next time I will be trying ganache. But I'm really happy with it, and I can't wait to see what it looks like on the cake. So I'm going to go grab our cake. We're going to do our final coat of icing, and then I'm going to throw it all together, and I'll show you how it looks. Alright, let's wrap this up. So for our final coat of icing, we're just going to be using the same red American buttercream that we used earlier to do our crumb coat. And I forgot to mention that I used AmeriColor Super Red to color this. Now we're going to be using our small offset spatula to apply a nice generous coat all over the cake, and then I'm going to smooth it out, using my plastic bench scraper. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, this is my favorite smoother. It works fantastic and I highly recommend it. Well friends, here it is. What do you think? I absolutely love this cake and I had so much fun making it. Even though I was a little scared it wasn't going to work out, I had so much fun trying out something new. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that big thumbs up button and leave me lots of love in the comment section too. And if you haven't done so already and you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you receive a notification every time I post a new video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.